So with that said, and moving on to our next part of the program, is you're going to get to hear from some of the partners that make up this innovation corridor and some of the executives that are investing or have invested here in Central Texas in the innovation corridor. So as I introduce you one by one, please join me. And Zach, I'm looking your way. You're up first, buddy. So Zach Price, the Chief Experience Officer of Hill Country Studios. Zach Price has founded Hill Country Studios in September of 2020 and serves as Chief Experience Officer with a really amazing background in the film industry. Zach spent time in Los Angeles, Greater Texas region, working in the camera department on high-end commercials, music videos. I won't tell him which musicians, but you did have a good dance performance, and other narrative pieces. He also led content generation for the Houston Rockets esports division that was acquired by Diginitas Esports. He also worked in the past for projects with Netflix, Coca-Cola, the Olympics, NFL, NBA, Golf Channel, Riot Games, and Blizzard. So amazing background, Zach. Thank you for joining us and having fun with us as well. Thank you. Next, if I can have Ryan Lommel, Senior Vice President of OneSupport, join me here. Ryan is the Senior Vice President of OneSupport, a business support services and software company in the Texas Innovation Corridor. Ryan is an experienced contact center executive and business transformation leader working with Fortune 500, 1,000, and 2,000 companies in industries such as telecommunications, mobility, cloud technology, electronic government, e-commerce, software, retail, and media. Quite a few.
That was a lot.
I can keep going. No, okay. Great. Thank you, Ryan, for being up here with us as well. And last but certainly not least, please, Austin Hickman, the CTO of PGM of Texas. Please join me up here. Austin is the Chief Technical Officer and Lab Manager of PGM of Texas. He has been with PGM of Texas for 10 years, where he was responsible for implementing new processes for more efficient recovery of critical metals during the recycling process. In the lab, he's responsible for validating testing data and improving processes. So thank you very much for joining. All right, guys, so I get to have the fun of asking you some questions. Now, the question is, do I stick to the script? What do you guys want? So we'll start there and we'll see where you guys go with us.
That's the way.
But let me start, Zach, your way. Give everybody a little bit more in-depth view of you, the organization you represent, kind of give them an overview of who you are. They've got to hear a little bit about you, but give us some more.
Yeah, so my name is Zach Price. We started this project back kind of when COVID got started. Like a lot of people, I was out of job. I was booked out for a few months, and seemingly work just came to a standstill one day. And I knew there had to be a better way. I knew that I didn't want to be kind of at the mercy of other people, and I wanted to do something for myself. So I got together with Blake Catrola, who's our CTO, and Corey McLeod, who's our CEO, and just approached them with this idea of building a film studio in Texas. It was something that we really hadn't seen before. There's some smaller studios in Austin, there's some up in Dallas, but nothing that would drive the bigger film industry. So your bigger streaming services, your tentpole productions such as Marvel, things like that. So we just started going down this path and ended up picking San Marcos to build this facility. Yeah, that's kind of a 10,000 foot view of the project.
That's great. No, perfect. If we can keep moving down the line, let's go. Keep going down here.
Sure. Ryan Lommel, VP of Sales and Service Delivery at OneSupport. I actually started at OneSupport in 2003. We've been San Marcos based. We were founded in 1993, so we've been around a while. Founded in San Marcos at that time, and I guess the way I came to the company is like most everybody. We were very focused in the San Marcos and Austin communities for drawing employees for our contact center services and technology services that we offer. And I started as an agent on the call center floor. That was eons ago, back in the dial-up days. And we've really we've grown our business with strong roots in San Marcos, and of course the great labor pool that Texas State provides, and and San Marcos provides to us. We've been able to grow and expand nationally. So we're in 22 states now, and we pioneered the remote first contact center approach. So we were about, and just to piggyback on Zach, where the world kind of came to a standstill during the pandemic. It was a Tuesday for us because we had over 95% of our workforce at home since 2008, and a lot of the work that we've done has been to, pioneer that remote first process to be able to project not only the kind of a secure endpoint and environment for people remotely, but to be able to gather all of the data and all the business intelligence and bring that back to our clients and centralize that. So that's it's been very core to OneSupport's approach and to OneSupport's success, and we've done that with a lot of resources and a lot of minds that we've managed to hoover up over the years and that have come out of San Marcos, and so great home for us.
Thanks, Ryan. Austin.
So my name's Austin Hickman. I'm with PGM of Texas. We are a precious metal recycler, primarily doing auto catalyst, spent auto catalyst. We've been in business since 2011. I've been there since the beginning, unfortunately, sometimes. But it is a commodity-based business, so it does have ups and downs, but we are always growing. I think right now we have 24 locations and over 300 people across the U.S. But in San Marcos, our main facility, we have 75 employees currently, 75 or 80. We have implemented in the last couple of years a wet lab. So by adding our wet lab to our business, it makes it where we can drive it towards our customers. Our customers need information. They need to know values. They need to know how much am I going to get back out of this load I'm sending you. I spent $1 million. Am I going to get $1 million back? So by having an in-house lab, it cuts a lot of the middleman out, and it helps to drive our customers to be better, because we want them to be better as well. Without our customers, we do not grow. We do not pass go. So what we've done recently in that last 2 years is we've hired a lot out of the Texas State University. We have our lead chemist has a master's of chemistry out of there. Our lead marketing has a master's from Texas State as well. We do like that San Marcos, Central Texas area, because there's a workforce that wants to work. I think that's a little bit different than some of these other places that we do have locations. It's hard to find good work, and people want to work. It seems like, and I don't know if it's how you're raised, but a lot of the people we do, they push us to be better. When our workers are pushing us, hey, let's do this. Can we do this? Developing the techniques, the processes to make it faster, quicker, better. And I think it's grown us a lot. So we continue to reinvest and try to grow more. We actually, one of the things that we've added recently to try to also help with the strain, everybody's talking about the power consumption. We use a lot of machinery. We use a lot of power coming into our building. We've actually produced 85% of our power by solar now. That's a big investment. It's a big thing to add that, but we do it. We're trying to give back. We're trying to make it greener. We're trying to be as green of a company as we can by recycling all parts of what we do, not just the precious metal side, so all the byproduct parts are recycled, and they go back into a circular economy that helps continue to grow other industries as well.
You're segueing, Austin, perfectly into the next question. I'll start with you, going back the other way, because you started to go into some of what I was going to ask about. One of the things that's always fascinating is that the three of your companies are located here in Central Texas, right, in the greater San Marcos footprint and in the middle of the innovation corridor. Folks might not realize what's happening at the companies that are there, or not even know you exist, right, just given the industries you guys serve. So share with us a little bit of some of the innovation happening within those your companies with the audience, so they can be enlightened on what is happening in their backyard.
So, recently there's been a bad rap about auto catalyst theft. We've worked really closely with legislation, lawmakers, congressmen, you name it, to try to help develop the laws, the rules for buying these items, the implementation of making it a very responsible way of recycling. What we do seems like a salvage yard type thing, but it is very important to the day-to-day infrastructure of the world. You know, precious metals are in everything from chemo research or chemo even medicines to national defense items. You know, we're recycling not just for catalysts, we're recycling the precious metals to bring it back into, like I said earlier, a circular economy so that we don't have to outsource to try to get the metals out of the country, to have to try to provide it when we can provide it in the United States. Not to toot our own horn, we are the largest auto catalyst recycler in the United States. Currently, we recycle roughly 4 million catalytic converters. So that's roughly 8 million pounds a year across the US. So what we do is, part of the innovation-wise, is increasing the speed that these processes can be processed, they can be tested, they can be recovered to our customers so that they can get their money to start working again. Some of these customers may put all of their money into one thing, and the industry standard is a 90-day to be paid back or to settle. A lot of our customers get settled in 14 days. We've shortened it to continue to grow it, to continue to make it an economy that can keep growing and is not always waiting. And that's one of the biggest things in our industry is the wait. Oh, you have to wait for settlement date, wait for settlement date. We offer early settlement. They can wait their full time if they want, but we offer early settlement as soon as 14 days. A process in our lab, for example, usually takes 7 days in a normal lab. We have added some implementation of what we call a fusion process, but we even do it faster than most people's 12-hour fusion process. We can fuse in 20 minutes. By adding the equipment, it's a big expenditure up front, but we're doing 6 to 8 samples every 20 minutes. So we can actually do as much as some of these larger labs that have multiple capacities that we do in the same amount of time or faster. And then also being a smaller lab, it makes it easier to watch the data. As they were explaining, I look over all data that goes out. It's easier to find problems with data, fixing the data before it leaves if you only have 3 techs versus 18 techs that you haven't looked over. You have more control of how things are done. And having the techs and our lead chemist, we try to come up with other processes. Well, can we fix this? Can we reduce the amount of chemicals? We use chemicals. Can we reduce the amount of chemicals to improve the process? You know, make it less toxic. You know, we neutralize all of our acids on site. A lot of people send it off. We'd prefer to do it on site to know that it's done right. It's things like that that help drive our business in that area to be better and to continue to grow. You know, if we can cut some other costs, we can add 5 more warehouse employees where we don't have to pay a tech, or other items that need. Can we buy more? Can we add more product to our line because we have more money to spend on it?
Awesome. No, thank you. It's amazing to get that inside look as you guys think, driving by 35 and seeing the facility sign up there, what's going on behind those walls. So Ryan, take us a journey over there with you guys.
Sure. I think, you know, kind of thinking about where OneSupport has innovated, whether, you know, and for us, it's always an evolving process. You know, telecommunications and the telecom industry is kind of was what we were born out of. And we really developed, you know, kind of some leading technical support, customer care processes as the I guess outsourcing industry and as the contact center and customer care industry became something that kind of came up. And you know, that was obviously something we did, you know, in the late 90s, early 2000s when I first started. But I think one of the big leaps that we made on the human side and on the human resources side that I think is that we've still developed and that we really continue to lead the way on is how we take care of our employees. And we do something that's very unique in the contact center industry, which means we let our employees make their own schedule. And there's a few caveats, so it's not. So it's probably not quite as clean as it sounds on the brochure, but but given all of that, it's really without getting into too much detail there, I'm happy to talk about it at length. Well, if you guys are really interested, but without getting into too much detail, it's something that one of the big catalysts there was because of the fact that we had to be able to bend our schedules around the schedules of the students at Texas State that work for us. And that was really the seed of that idea. And we've since developed it where we spread it across the country and we allow people to work a full-time schedule if they want to, or in many cases close to full-time, and do that around their lives and their obligations, which has had massive impacts for our clients in engagement, meaning that we're the tip of the spear when you're talking to, when we're representing our client's brand. And we want somebody who's engaged, who's enjoying themselves. And you can't do that if you're, having to be at work and you can't handle, and you can't, and you're having to sacrifice other parts of your life to be at work. And so we've been able to do that where we can engineer. So for example, somebody who maybe is a working parent, I've got a 5-year-old, so I know how that is. You can work you can work early in the day, drop your kid, be there to drop your kid off at school in the morning, make sure they get a good start, come back to work while they're there, leave for maybe get your shopping done, leave for the rest of the day, and then and then finish a 10-hour day around the schedule that you have arranged. And we're in the vast majority of cases, we're able to accommodate that. So that side on the human side is something that really gives us a very strong foundation to build and to pursue OneSupport's philosophy of making sure that we're building a consistent, family-oriented, and constructive environment for our employees to build their lives in and have a great career. And then on the technology side, and this is a more recent innovation that's born of a lot of the things that we had to do and customize to take care of our employees. We've built a cloud contact center platform that has a very, very light and agile business transformation footprint, which allows us to plug into our clients' businesses, because a lot of times, especially there were a lot of investments in the early and late 90s into big on-prem systems and stuff like that, and there's a big trend in the contact center industry of modernizing the cloud services, but it's easier said than done. So what we've been able to do is build some systems to make it very, very easy for people to plug in their legacy systems and still get that cloud, that cutting edge cloud innovation. And we're able to deliver that nationally. We're able to deliver that in an extremely agile and flexible way that doesn't tax our clients' IT resources or their reporting resources too heavily, and allows us to plug into their existing management dashboards that's very familiar with them, which is what it does is it makes it so that you don't have to train everybody else to on a new way of doing business. You can really help them transform and bring them into the future in a controlled way, in a way that doesn't stop production. And that's been something that has been extremely. I think we've had a lot of success with it, but I think it's been extremely well received as a result of that approach of that very conscientious approach to helping people modernize, to helping people to helping solve the very dynamic problems that happen with an increasingly connected world and then kind of a higher velocity of information and needs that have to be met in the clients that we serve.
Ryan, thank you. And I love just hearing the nuances of innovation, right? There's so many different facets you can think of as innovative. So to hear that with the employee side is great, because it's important to highlight just as much as the output. So Zach, that your industry has so much innovation, I would imagine, and keeps evolving quickly. Given that you guys are building and going to be putting this facility here, talk to us about what that innovation is going to look like for us here in Central Texas.
Yeah, well, really quick, just because I'm curious, by a show of hands, can I ask who in here has a subscription to like Netflix, Disney Plus, any sort of streaming service? It's probably a majority of the room. So I'm sure like a lot of you, when COVID hit, I consumed a lot of content. And one of those things was Disney's The Mandalorian. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with it. So, because I'm a film guy and I love technology and I'm young and I guess hip, I was really curious on how they shot it. And it was done, typically in the film industry, when you want to add special effects, we'd shoot against a blue screen, a green screen, and everything's done in post-production. So, you send it off to a bunch of artists and they make your background kind of whatever you want it to be. But the cool thing about The Mandalorian, and as a production guy, not a post-production guy, that I really loved, was they figured out how to do it all in pre-production and in production. So what they did was they took a big LED wall, like you'd see a jumbotron at an NFL game or a basketball game, and they put the talent in front of that. And using Unreal Engine, they projected an environment, tracked the camera, and that was now your post-production. So we did everything pre-visually, and then it was all done in camera. So it helped everyone from me as the camera operator, all the way to talent, making them feel like they were actually in that environment. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, man, this is cool. I think Texas could use something like this. We had a huge, we still have a huge commercial industry here. And I thought it would bode well for that. So we kind of started going down this route of maybe we could build a stage like this. Then it was maybe we can build 2. Maybe we can build 12 stages. And so this technology really sparked this whole idea of putting a studio here in Texas. And seemingly it just keeps changing every day. Blake, our CTO, could speak on it better than me, but I think something new seemingly comes out every day for it. And I see things on LinkedIn, YouTube, all sorts of stuff of young guys making just great strides in this technology. So we're really excited. We're currently building 2 volumes, is what we call them. They're big LED volumes. And then we'll have kind of some breakaway space for, one-off shoots and things like that. But yeah, if you guys want, I could sit here and talk for hours on it. But if you want to dive more, there's actually a really great YouTube video that Lucas and Disney did with Jon Favreau, and it kind of explains the technology really well, much better than I could explain it. So.
No, Zach, this is awesome. It's exciting stuff to know it's going to be happening in our backyard. So, Zach, I'm going to stay with you here because you are our most recent addition to the Innovation Corridor. So talk to us about why, right? Why did you settle on here versus any other part of Texas, quite honestly, any other part of the country? I mean, you could go over the world, quite honestly, given what you guys do. So why here?
Well, so I grew up in Texas, grew up in Houston, Texas boy. Most of our group are Texas boys. And that was really important. I've lived in Texas for my whole life, and seemingly I had to go away to Los Angeles, Georgia, New York to go work. I was trained at Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church, where I kind of did my internship. They dumped all this time and money and effort into me and just sent me off to go work somewhere else. And I helped stimulate their economy. And so, yeah, we're just really stuck on Texas. We want to do business in Texas. It's a great place to do business, as I'm sure many of you know. And then we started looking, we're Houston boys, so we kind of thought maybe Houston, but, there was a huge talent pool in the Austin area. As you guys know, a lot of stuff gets shot in Austin, still even today with the infrastructure that we kind of don't have. But once we started looking for locations, and we got with our architect, Bill Foley, who built Pinewood Studios in Atlanta, which is currently the largest facility in the United States, is where Marvel shoots most of their content right now. He kind of gave us a big checklist of just criteria that he likes to see when they build a film studio. You know, some of the things you got to take into account is how close is it to an airport? Is there amenities around it for crew? Are there hotels? Is it quiet? You know, you want it to be close to an airport, but you don't want it to be right over the air path. So we started looking around, and one of our CTO, Blake, he's actually an alum from Texas State, and kind of pointed us in the direction of San Marcos, and we went out, visited San Marcos, and I fell in love with the place. It was a great change personally from going from, like, you know, the fourth biggest city in the United States to a town of, I think, 55,000 people, Jason? Up a little bit more, something like that. But yeah, it was great. And then, you know, we found the property out near La Cima and started working with those guys, and it just checked all the boxes. So it was a really great place, and not to mention Texas State's right there. So, you know, getting to use interns, which is something that we're incredibly passionate about as guys who have been interns before, that was huge. So just a great place to do business.
Love it. No, this is
Yeah.
great. Let's take that momentum and move it down. Ryan, share a little bit from your guys' perspective what originally attracted you guys to make that investment, and ultimately where you see yourselves going forward.
Sure. Yeah. So originally, the reason that we started, you know, really trying to grow our business and decided the headquarters in San Marcos was heavily, heavily associated with the labor pool that we were able to draw from the university. You got, you know, a lot of young people, a lot of forward-thinking, motivated folks that needed, that needed a job, and on top of that, they brought a really great energy. And we, you know, I actually started with OneSupport when I'm a UT alumni, I know, and I work with a lot of Texas State alumni. But I started. We actually had a location in Austin as well, and we found that as Austin has grown and continued to grow, it really it changed a little bit. Where in San Marcos, we were, you know, especially with Texas State, we were really able to keep that energy and keep that positivity, and that was, I think it was probably around 2005 that we decided to really plant our flag in San Marcos and say, hey, we're gonna headquarter in San Marcos. And as the business has grown and evolved, and as we've really gone, you know, we've taken our workforce model national at this point because of that switch to the remote first idea. It's still San Marcos has really provided us, especially for our leadership and for some of the leaders that, you know, we've recruited from all over the country and brought to San Marcos. It's created a, you know, really great quality of life. It creates a lot of ideas and a lot of and that really, that, I guess, that easygoing energy that I think we are able to in some ways bottle up and project out across the country and across the world when we talk to various customers. And I think that's really, you know, why we started in San Marcos. And, you know, as far as things continue to evolve and grow, I think that's really what we want to harness and continue to project out.
Love it. Austin, take us on the journey for PGM.
So we didn't start in San Marcos. We actually started between Austin and Dripping Springs. But as we grew, one of the things that we needed to do was be easier for people to come to our locations, to come to our buildings. Freight, that's actually become one of the biggest things. One of our biggest expenses is freight, other than employees, of course. But being in shipping lanes made a big difference, you know. So we started looking on the I-35 area when we were moving, and something a lot of people won't talk about, but we're being in the opportunity zone to be able to develop. You do get the tax breaks, you do get the money back in the pocket to help add more people, to add more jobs that we can continue to bring. And like I was saying, you know, I think a lot of the workforce in that area, they want to work. Being closer to items, being closer to a restaurant, We were almost out in dripping before dripping was really booming now. You had to drive 30 minutes to go get lunch. Our guys did not like that. That makes a big difference. We try to cater as much as we can to our employees. They were speaking earlier about, trying to make it better for the employees. We do have a little bit of a different model for our employees. We pay for their health care. We throw parties, and these are not parties just, oh, look at us. It's like, what do y'all want to do? We ask them, what can we do to make things better for you? What do y'all need out in the warehouse? What do y'all need in y'all's offices? And by doing that, it helps develop people who want to come to work for us. We usually don't have a problem finding most positions. I think we talked earlier about software engineer, we're needing one. We actually have an in-house software engineer from Texas State, actually, that we hired, and he's built our apps and stuff, but he needs help now. Some of those are just harder because there's just so many jobs looking for those positions. But still being in the area we can still grab from Texas State, we can grab from UT, we can go UTSA. There's so many labor pools that are in that area that help continue to grow the infrastructure around there to add to that workforce or even add to development. We may have a partner come to us that has opened up a business, like, hey, what can I do to be better? What can I do to help become a partner with you or to help your business? And, we will always talk and try to make it better. We want to be better. And we felt like this Central Texas area, and then even south of Austin, is just the best bet. And it's worked out really well for us. We moved to San Marcos, I think it was 4 years ago. And this is our second move. We continue to keep growing. We went from 20,000 square foot to 40,000. We're at 84 now, and we're actually outgrowing that space as well. So the items that we're doing, and we don't plan to move. We just want to continue to grow where we're at. That area, since we've gotten there, has grown on us very much. My grandma's lived in South Austin for 40 years, so we know the area. So moving a little bit farther south is more like the old Austin. It's open spaces.
So you guys all shared sort of this undercurrent of just what a great place the community is, right? Central Texas, San Marcos, the communities around there have a special something about it, right, that you're pinpointing. And I think I'm going to point in one direction I think is a big contributor to that, and that's Texas State University. Having that university and all that is there drives a vibrancy to the community that I think you all are alluding to in some form or fashion. So take us to Texas State now, and Ryan, I'll start with you.
Sure.
You all have a relationship to some degree with Texas State. Talk us through so our audience can understand how you utilize and leverage and partner with an asset like that sitting next door.
Yeah, I mean, we've had many years of direct and indirect partnership with Texas State, where and I think that as far as we weren't a contact center business, we needed a labor force, right? Like especially kind of in the before we really started to blow it all over the place, but start having employees all over the country. But when we were building our business, it was a really great place for just to back up a second, I think San Marcos is a great place to live, and it's an even better place to go to college. It's a fun town, especially if you're 20-something. If you guys have spent an evening out in San Marcos, you know what I'm talking about. It's a great place to be. You can really have a great time, and it's a kind of a self-contained, fun, safe space. And that energy is something that is very, very important if you're because that carries over, right? It carries over to the workday. It carries over to the attitude that you bring to work, is that you want to come and you want to have fun and you want to have a good time. And it's what's kept me at OneSupport for almost 20 years, is that attitude, is that we have a good time. There's not a huge ego. There's no it's very easygoing and laid back, and I think that we draw that from. We've got a ton of Texas State alumni that are in our leadership, and everybody, almost I would say, to a man or woman, everybody has retained that. That's something that I think is a value that's instilled in way that kind of comes through Texas State, and I think that that's been, one of the, just from a kind of an informal, influence. And informally, of course, the university has helped us in a number of different junctures. We had a sponsorship agreement with them. I think we still got a skybox where we go and watch the football games and stuff. And we've done some internship programs and some and that type of work. And I think that's been one of the really neat things, especially since we've been in San Marcos for so long, is that we've been able to grow alongside the university. When we started, it was Southwest Texas State, and it was pretty small. Mm-hmm. And we've all grown up together. And Texas State now is, obviously you don't need me to sit here and tell you about their reputation. It's excellent. And they've grown, and Texas State has expanded exponentially, and we've been able to benefit from that every step of the way. And so I would say, it's essentially it's a great place to live. It's a great place to grow up and to start your career, and we've been able to leverage that at every point in our development as an organization.
Excellent. No, it's awesome to hear. It's great to see the depth and breadth of that. Austin, give us a little taste of how you guys engage and leverage Texas State.
So, like I was mentioning earlier, we have a few Texas State graduates that work for us, a couple of them with masters. Happens to be Kelly, which is our lead chemist. Like Ryan was mentioning about how great it is to grow up in San Marcos, to live there. She is a long-time San Marcos high school, college, post-grad, everything. She didn't want to leave. She loves the area. But that's the type of people we want. That's the type of stuff we want. We want people who love where they're at already and want to just continue to grow and have the opportunity to grow. One of the things that Texas State will help provide for us even in the future, something I didn't mention, we're adding what I would say value streams to our business. We do a precious metal recycling based off of platinum, palladium, and rhodium. But in the future, e-scrap is adding to ours. We're already getting the equipment in place to do that, electric vehicle batteries. These are all things that are going to need to be processed. We're trying to get ahead of the curve as much as we can. But having Texas State so close will help with the knowledge, the people who are in it. Because, a lot of this stuff is already being taught, or some of the processes are already going through. And we'd like to have somebody, and even with Texas State directly, being able to discuss with them, these are the problems we're running into. These are the process issues we're having. What can we do? Can we work on something to work this out? And then hopefully if something does come through at the end of the project, if the student graduates and somebody who's already well versed in it, it's an easy addition for us. At that point, they fit right in. There's no retraining, there's no redeveloping it. It's like, what can we do to help continue to grow? And then if we grow this way, then let's absorb the same people who helped teach it.
Awesome. No, this is really, really good. Zach, quickly give us, I want to get to one more question for all you guys, so get ready. It's going to be a little curveball. Zach, give me a sense from you guys, just a taste of what you guys plan on how engaging with Texas State. I know you already have, so give everybody just a taste of what that looks like.
Yeah, well, it's really cool. Before we even approached Texas State had already started building. I'd say it's 2 sound stages on campus, and this was, I'm sure, before we had even come in and made a splash, made an announcement. So I think that really shows, there's been a huge influx, I think, in the last generation, especially, my generation of people who have figured out that they can make a living doing creative things. And so, yeah, we've started talking to Mr. Ron Epperson, who I don't think is here anymore. I think he had to leave. But just about what we can do with the school. We've kind of looked at what they've done in Georgia with the Georgia Film Academy at Pinewood. And it's kind of a collaboration between Georgia Tech and all the schools in Georgia. And it teaches these young kids that there's more in the film industry. You've got your above the line people, your directors, your producers, your writers, and you've got your talent, but there is an army of people that you need to make a movie or make a TV show, from your construction workers all the way to your accountants and everything in between. So yeah, we've started talking with Texas State about what we can do there, and not just Texas State, but UT as well, and UTSA, and just
Love it.
everyone. So
It does. It takes a village for all
Takes
of us
a village.
to be
Yeah, it
successful.
takes an
It's
army.
so true. So wrapping up our panel, I'm going to give you guys, and I'm going to put the constraint on this one. In one sentence, let's see if you guys can answer this question. So it's
It'll be especially difficult for me.
get ready for it, right? So look at all that we have, right? The great communities we have, the environment we have, the innovation it's breeding, all that goes into that. But what is, in one sentence, one thing our community, public, private sector, all these folks out here can do to make sure we stay what we are and continue to grow? So in one sentence, can you articulate that for us? I'll let anybody jump in. So go ahead. Zach, you're already teasing it out, so go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm teasing it. I think one thing that really got us started on this was just keep dreaming and dream really big. Texas has got a lot to offer.
Ryan, Austin, who wants to do it?
I think I'll go.
Okay.
That's what we'll keep
So-
it in order. And go.
I was going to do a run-on sentence instead, but but I think I may have narrowed it down a little bit. I would have to say always wanting to better yourself or better your process. So it's the education behind it, learning. Whatever you can do, don't stop doing that. Always wanting more.
Awesome. All right, Ryan, clean us up.
Yeah, and I think while you're doing all of those things that Zach and Austin said, you got to keep it fun. And I think that's keep it fun and enjoy life. And I think that's the thing that San Marcos has a very San Marcos is a very unique recipe for that combines excellence, hard work, and a good time. And I really hope that we can preserve that as we continue to grow and continue to innovate.
Awesome. Well, thank you, all three of our panelists. Please welcome and thank them again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.